everyone. Happy Monday, happy Moon Day. Whew, this is Sparkling Shine Guidance, and let's see where to begin. So we are moving into the new moon in Leo this week, so I wanted to talk about that, and I wanted to kind of talk about the build up to that. And also, hi, if you're just joining, happy Leo season, happy Monday. Okay, so I want to talk about the new moon on Wednesday, but first I want to say, yesterday was, if you didn't see my other reel about the cazimi, so a cazimi is when a planet exactly conjuncts is in the light of the sun. And so in a retrograde cycle, it brings things to awareness, right? The sun is our conscious awareness. It's the lens through which we see things. So that's why, like, your sun sign isn't everything, but it's just like kind of the perspective that you have on life, or the way that you see things. It's like from the light of the sun shining, we get to see things. And so if you have planets conjunct your sun in your birth chart, that's what that means. You were born very close to a cazimi. And with the Venus retrograde, we haven't had a Venus retrograde in Leo since 2015. And Venus retrograde, you could read a lot of my other posts about that. But basically, it's activating this inner courage to look at these different pieces and these different parts of ourselves and have love and have respect and have more worthiness and have these different ways of integrating and looking at these pieces of ourselves and like parts work, like this part over here. Oh, I shunned this part of myself. Let me bring it back and let me have the courage to love this part of myself. So that's like, the courage part is very much the Venus retrograde in Leo. The other thing that we've been having is Black Moon Lilith really active with this Venus retrograde. First, she was conjunct Venus, and now she's conjunct the sun and the moon with this new moon. Black Moon Lilith is the dark side of the moon, and so it gets a lot of bad rap. Like, the patriarchal view of Lilith is she's like the demon goddess that will come like steal your baby in the night. But from a feminine perspective, I don't know if I just spit or something just went flying, but sorry about that. I got really excited for a second. Black Moon Lilith from a feminine perspective has to do with whatever we've been taught to divorce within ourselves, suppress within ourselves, shadow integration, where we have had to shun our power, as a feminine being or a non-feminine being, but specifically having to do with our feminine. So, that's like one of the goals, I think, is raising children now with this intact, like not necessarily needing to divorce or drop off this part of themselves that is powerful, right? But for those of us that weren't raised that way, Lilith guides us back to that integration. So wherever Black Moon Lilith is in your natal chart, shows you where you're beyond powerful, and it's just about integrating and accepting that part. That's why feminine leadership is so helpful, because in feminine leadership, we go through your astrological chart, and each one of these pieces, there's 13 archetypes of the divine feminine that we go through, and we talk about where she is in your natal chart, and we talk about what that's looked like in your life and different ways to work with and integrate her. And each one of the weeks has a meditation and an activation within it to not only get to know the astrological body in your chart, but also like the deeper archetypal meaning of the priestess energy in your chart. So that's feminine leadership. Early registration ends this week. If you are at all interested in learning more about that, reach out or click the link in my profile. It's an amazing 3-month journey together, and I love it, and I'm excited to host it starting at the end of September. Black Moon Lilith, that's how that subject came up. Okay, so this new moon, now let's get to the new moon. So that's kind of like, I just wanted to talk about like the leading up to this, like, because we've been in a very intense time, and also a lovely time, and also like for a lot of people a not so lovely time. This new moon is like a shock and awe beginning, a fresh start, but it's very unexpected because there's a square to Uranus. So we have Lilith, the sun, the moon, and Venus all together in Leo, and this new moon is at 23 degrees of Leo. That's exactly squaring Uranus at 23 degrees of Taurus. So looking at both your Leo, midway point of Leo to the end degrees of Leo, place in your chart, and then also Taurus and any of the fixed signs really, because it's going to be creating a square to that. is really helpful to understand what might be challenging for you of this new moon, what you maybe are struggling to let go of, an old story, an old belief, an old drum that you keep beating that you know isn't getting you anywhere good. This new moon is going to require courage, like I talked about. Like the Leo energy is courageous. It just is, you know. And so this new moon is an invitation to courageously kind of releasing and starting fresh and dreaming big again and wishing a wish again, and, you know, letting yourself be the dreamer, letting yourself have a desire, and releasing any of the old stories that tell you you can't have whatever it is that you want. So this new moon is really powerful, especially if you have planets or placements in Leo around those like 20 to 28 degrees of Leo. It's going to be even more impacted. So look at your chart, kind of understand the energy of this is very like yin and yang. Like a new moon is very yin, but then Uranus energy is very active, very like all of a sudden it's the Tower card in Tarot. And so it's like we got to let things fall in order to really, we have to let certain things fall in order to really kind of come into more of our true self. And it is a really difficult process to release old identities that you've held onto for survival, and that you felt like were the only thing keeping you safe, or that were the thing that made you a good girl, or made you successful, or whatever it is. And so it's a really courageous hero's journey to undergo, to let go of those things and to reorient yourself to the new you, and the you that's always wanted to come forward, the you that's always been in there, that wants to shine a little brighter. So if you're interested in working together, this is an amazing time to work together. I have one-on-one individual somatic astrology sessions available, and you can click the link in my profile to learn more about those. And yeah, and the last thing I will say is just like really taking the space this week to identify some of your stories and identify some of the things that you've been gripping onto a little too tight, and the different situations in these past 2 weeks in particular that have come up that have forced you to confront the stories and forced you to acknowledge some of your limitations, and really kind of writing those out is going to help you have clarity moving forward to identifying what you actually do want and what parts of yourself you're going to have to call forward in order to enact that and be who you really want to be, and who you deserve to be, and who you've always been, and deep down. And so it's about like remembering, you know, remember has that word member in it, like really making it a part of who you are again. It's always been in there. It's just about reactivating it. So it's a really exciting time that we're in, and it's a really also scary time that we're in. And it's okay to acknowledge all of those things. And something that I like to remind myself and others of is that when there's a lot of active energy right now, like as there is, that anxiety is just energy that your brain can't comprehend, that your brain can't process, or that your brain is having trouble identifying with or being with. But if you drop down into your body and into your heart, you can just let it be the energy that it is. Let it be excitement. Let it be amazement. Let it be gratitude, whatever it needs to be. But you don't have to process everything through the mind. And as the dogs are cueing me to get on with my day, I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you have a beautiful new moon. If you found this video helpful, you can give it a like, you can share it, and it'll be on my profile. Take good care. Bye.